Hey everyone, today I want to make a video for writers who are tasked to write articles in Surfer SEO's um, content editor system. It's a very, very useful tool that I personally have used for probably 3 years now since Surfer first came out. They were in really, really primitive stages, and the system looked very different back then. And they've made some really, really good improvements. Love Surfer, love what those guys are doing over there. Great company. Can't say enough about them and the power of using their content editor, which competes with some of the other content editors that are similar. I've used a lot of different editors, and this one I always go back to because it serves the purpose for writing great content for SEO purposes, while comparing all in one place some competitors' articles and things like that. So let's look at this um, process from a writer's perspective only. So this is after you've set up the content piece for your writer or for yourself. This is after you've analyzed everything and put it all together. This video is just for the writers when they receive a project from you, or they receive an article from you, or a task from you. These are some of my tips that I've learned personally over the years. I'm not only a business owner, I'm a manager, I'm an SEO nerd, and I'm also a writer. So I look at this from all of those perspectives, and this is definitely the tool that I go to. So as a writer, you'll get the article here, and the first thing you'll do is you'll go over to uh, the right-hand sidebar, and you will, first thing I think you should do is just study real quick what you're supposed to be doing. Your word count, you want to make sure you stay within the word count that's assigned to you. We have a lot of writers that sometimes will try to go over the word count, and usually it's because they want to get paid more, but a lot of times it is truly because they have to complete a full thought, and just make sure they're hitting all the keywords without stuffing. So make sure you watch your word count. As a writer, I would probably talk to whoever assigned you the article if you think you're going to go 200, 300, 400,000 words over what they've assigned to you. All right, so these three tabs at the top are very important. The guidelines, the outline, and the brief. If you're a writer and you're not checking these things, you're probably going to get some revision requests. So the first thing I want to do is look at the outline, okay? This will give us some ideas of some of the topics and questions we need to address. This will give us some ideas of some of the titles that are selected to be used, and it even gives you some links to click on if you wanted to take a look at this website as well. So here are some examples of like a paragraph of what is contained inside that paragraph. So it's really, really helpful when you're talking about titles and what the topic should be. You should check those out. Headings, really good here. Um, the headings is to be taken with a grain of salt, really, as a writer. We don't necessarily make it a point to have our writers where it's mandatory for them to include every single heading. So it's up to the writer's best judgment to complete their thoughts. Here's some of the questions that are pulled from Google in the people always also ask section. And then here's kind of a short, brief answer of that. And then there's links to those articles as well. All right, so the brief is a really good place. For me to send information to the writer for them to read. But the most important thing here for your writers, if you're a writer and you're watching this video, the most important thing that you can glean from this tab here is the competitor section. What this is these are the websites that are actually being used to pull these keywords from and to develop the entire outline of the article. So you absolutely want to check every single one of these links, okay? If you're a researcher, this is the starting point. And from there you can go on and go into other places, but This is mandatory for our writers. You have to look at the competitors that we've included to get the information for the article you're about to write. So you need to write an article that's very similar to these. For us, we always try to have at least five in here. Four is pretty much not enough. 10 is not necessary. So somewhere between 5 and 10 websites that we want to use to get the information from. And then the notes up top is very, very important. We'll usually include the tone that they need to write, the blog, the website that it'll be placed on. The best. So this here is talking about what to research and actually to look at some pictures of some of these rivers that we're going to write about. Write about some of the aspects of rivers, such as their size, their depth. So we give the writer a little bit of cheat code here, although they'll be able to verify and see all that stuff in the competitors' articles. And then here's an instruction that I'm specifically asking the writer to do. Make sure you mention kayaking, tubing, swimming, fishing, and how to access those things. Very outdoorsy style article with helpful information for the reader to decide where he or she should go. The point of writing articles for us is that the reader can actually get something from it. So as an SEO writer and as an SEO person that I am, I understand that Google wants informative articles. The AI content doesn't cut it, guys. Those are good for other types of purposes. AI content has its place in SEO. But when you're talking about putting a blog on a client's website or on your own website, you can't use AI content. You might be able to start an outline with AI content and completely tweak it, but to just plop some straight AI generated content on your website doesn't work in 2022 and 2023 and beyond for sure. Google's really cracking down on that. Okay, let's go to this score. The content score is always something people get caught up on. They want to get it to 100. It's not necessary, guys. I've used this score for years. And to the guys at Surfer, if you're watching this video, this score just really doesn't do much for us. Yeah, we want to try to get it in the green. 70, 69, 70, right in here or above is where we want to be. And if you're writing good content, that's automatic. It happens. You don't even have to worry about it. Okay. A lot of people are caught up on, okay, what does the score need to be? Writers will ask me, what's the target score? We don't have a target score. We want the content to be written so that a user can benefit from the information that you're writing about. Okay. The score to us is not super important. A lot of people get hung up on it and they'll click on the details tab and they'll look at the structure, the headings, the terms. We just want it in the green somewhere. That's our target. However you decide to use this score with your writers is up to you, but that's how I view it. Images, we usually don't insert into our articles. We'll just make sure we usually put, enough images in there. So here's these terms here are interesting to look at. This tells you how many times river, lake, trout, park is used. You can expand that and get a good idea. All right, let's open up this tab a little bit, and I want to look at our keywords here. All right, to the guys at Surfer, if you could please put these in order of how many are needed up front, that would be awesome for us because it's so out of order. For a writer, you have to find the keywords that have the most recommendations. All right, so you see down here we have kayaking shows 14. This should be at the top. That's a lot. Here's park at 17. You want to use it between 5 and 17 times. Here's one, rivers 11 to 30, lake 13 to 39, Oklahoma 23 to 46. These are the keywords. Here's one, river 32 to 90 times. I would love to see those at the top and placed in order. And then you have some that are like just use it once, like ice chest. Ice chest, Turner Falls, good fishing, easy access. These should be at the bottom. These are considered the less important terms. Yeah, we want to use them. Okay. So if you can get anything from this video, it's this. Our target, if the writer asks us, what's the score need to be? I said, I'll come back and I'll say, all the keywords need to be green. Make these keywords green. If there's anything red, fix it. That's really our goal, is to hit all these keywords. Sometimes you might see keywords in here that don't fit based on your research, and you might not use it. And then you can tell your boss or whoever, your client or yourself, you can say, "Hey, this isn't relevant. Let's just forget about that keyword." And a lot of times when you turn in your article, your boss will know, or whoever's assigning the article will know. Okay, that's why they didn't include that keyword. That's not relevant. That talks about uh, um, oceans or something like that, So here's what you need to keep in mind with these keywords, writers. All right, you want to find the ones that have the most recommendations, such as fishing, rivers, lake, the ones we looked at a second ago, Oklahoma, river, even Mountain Fork River, 6 to 10 times. The ones that have the highest recommendations are the ones that you want to focus on first. Okay, those are the ones you want to focus on crafting your article over those topics. Those are important topics. And you'll probably also see these words included in your headings: Oklahoma, river, stuff like that. And there they are. So you want to use those as many times as possible. You have to meet the 20, like Oklahoma, 23 times. It's a lot of times to use that word in the article, but you've got to meet at least that. River, 32 times. You've got to meet at least that. I don't think you should go to 90. I mean, 90 is kind of big, but I'm not sure what article has 90 times. That's a little stuffy, but keep that in mind. Trout, somewhere between 10 and 47. I like to use a rule of thumb of using somewhere in the middle. So between 32 and 90, take the average of that, which is about 60, 50 something, and use that as your average. Maybe try to get in 60 times. Here, 23 to 46. So maybe somewhere in the middle, like 30, that might be just fine with that one. Lake, 13 to 39. I don't know, maybe like 25, something like that would be good. I'm just kind of guessing. I'm not pulling out a calculator here, guys. But here, again, trout. So I think my target as a writer would be like maybe 22 times, 25 times, something like that. And then the smaller ones here, popular spot, just use it once. Kayak, use it 5 times, up to 5 times. A good rule of thumb for me is to keep it in the middle somewhere. So if it says 2 to 5, 3 is good, 4 is good, and go from there. That's how we look at keywords in Surfer. All right. And that's how our writers are supposed to be writing these things. The most important ones are the ones that are recommended to be used the most amount of times. Okay. So when you start crafting your article, the first thing you do is you'll update this. This is your H1. The word should be capitalized. Okay. Nothing drives me more nuts than fixing capitalization errors in headings and in headlines. And then you can use a variation of this. You can take a look at the headings. Best rivers in Oklahoma. You can look at some of the recommendations here. Best rivers in Oklahoma. So let's see here. Questions. What are the cleanest rivers? The 3 major rivers. What is the clearest? Best rivers in Oklahoma. So you can find maybe one of these is a good idea. You can switch up your headline here. So let's just say, what are the best rivers in Oklahoma for outdoor activities? Something like that. But if you needed to keep it as just the headline, you can. So you can be creative with the headline to start to create an idea. Because remember in the brief, my instruction to the writer is this should be an outdoorsy style article with helpful information for the reader to decide where he or she should go to enjoy an activity. So therefore, that became kind of the title of my article. All right, so then you'll write the article. You'll start filling in the blanks, the green stuff, and make sure that all the keywords are green. All right, let's take a look at an article that a writer turned into me and let's kind of grade it together. So I'll show you kind of what I look at and what I see from my perspective. So the keyword here is tubing trip. And although it's not included in the H1, which would probably increase this score a little bit if you're really conscious about the score, it's a services page that we're writing for a website. So it's totally fine that the writer did that. But the word tubing trip is right here in the keywords, and she made sure to include it 2 times. So we're good there. San Marcos River, South Carolina, those 2 keywords are not relevant. Those are not relevant keywords. We should have removed them, but sometimes it's hard to remove every single thing. So then you see some red keywords here, all right? You see some things in red. These are, obviously, you see the zeros. So the writer did not use those keywords. Now, on stuff like hop, when it's only recommended 1 time, I'm okay with that. But when we're starting to talk about a river, you want to use the word wet. You want to use the word tubers. Drink is recommended 1 to 3 times. It's more than just once. Here's one that's recommended 4 times. Here's another one. Hour, between 2 and 4 times. Sign, between 2 and 3 times. These words have to be green. The recommendation is to use it more than once. Okay? As opposed to this word hop, which is only recommended once, or catch, which is only recommended once. My take on this is, if it's recommended more than once, you absolutely have to include it. It's a keyword that our competitors are using, and it's a keyword that is relevant to the article in most cases. All right, so I want to point out another thing here is the overuse of a word like the word sun. Okay, now I see the need to use that word, but this is about tubing services. It's not about traveling to the sun or sunlight or sunscreen or anything like that. It's about tubing services and renting tubes from an outdoor outfitter in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. So I think we could probably do away with that. Not a huge deal, but if you want this to be proper and exact and correct, you want to keep this green. So maybe we could take the word sun, wherever you see the word sun, and maybe just add sunlight to it. So let's do a Control F for the word sun in the article. Sun protection, plenty of, you are also exposed to plenty of, so here we can just add, let me zoom in on this. Just like going to the beach, just like the beach, you are also exposed to plenty of sun in rivers. How about we just add the word light? Okay, sunlight in rivers. Now, the word sun is correct. Okay, so just an easy fix on little stuff like that you want to pay attention to. Make sure your headings are correct. So there's only one H1, needs to be capitalized. And you need a little bit of text under that in most cases, a little paragraph text. Then you go to H2s, and a subheading of an H2 would be an H3 like you see here. All right, so it's set up properly, and then there's text underneath of it. We don't use, for our writers, we don't allow them to use 2 headlines in a row, like an H2 followed by an H3 with no text in between it. We don't allow them to do that. It's not proper for what we're trying to do and for our structures. So you see here, we haven't included any images. You can include images if you want to, but that's pretty much what we're looking to do here. And again, a lot of writers, this is important. A lot of writers have a tendency to speak improper English in their article to meet the keywords. That's not going to work. Okay. The main goal is to write content that a reader can benefit from. I've said that a few times in this video, and I'll say it again. That's the main goal of writing. Your job as a writer is to write content that people can learn something from or benefit from or gain something from. As a writer, your goal is not to meet keywords or reach a content score. Those are secondary things. Your goal as a writer is to write content that is correct, no misspellings, no grammar errors, and that people can enjoy, that people will actually benefit from. That's the goal of writing. All right. And SEO writing. Yes, that's still the goal. Now, the second goal is obviously meeting the keyword requirements. So there's a couple different things you need to keep in mind. If you're meeting all the keyword requirements, but the content doesn't make sense, I'm probably not going to work with that writer for a long time. I'm going to say, you have one more chance to fix this. You're a writer, like you're writing content for us that people are actually going to read. If it doesn't make sense and I have to make 15 edits, or our editor needs to come in and spend 2 hours on your article, that's not a good fit for us. And you probably won't be writing for us or anybody else for a long time. So again, your goal is to write good, digestible content. Google is smarter than ever, and they know what crap content is versus digestible, original, well-written content from a legit writer. Their algorithm is very smart. Their technology is very smart. So keep that in mind. Second most important thing, again, just to recap, is hitting all these keywords. Make the keywords green. All right. They did a good job with most of these keywords here. You know, they met it somewhere in the middle with the word trip. Pretty good. I think adventure could raise up a little bit. I think trips could raise up a little bit. Tubing for sure, you could raise a little bit. River, maybe one or two more. River tubing, I'm okay with 7. Just kind of reviewing these real quick as we look at them. Fun, 3 of 7. 4 times is okay. I'd like to see maybe 5 there, but it's okay. So meeting the minimum here is not always the best approach. I think meeting it in the middle is the best approach here. So even floating, if you use it 4 times, if there's another way you can word it, let's try that. So keep those things in mind. Just try to meet the keyword in the middle somewhere, if possible, as a writer. All right, so that's it for us. If you have any other questions, you can certainly hit me up, Kevin@directally.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll have a couple other surfer-based videos coming soon. Thank you.